Thank you so very much, Dr. Vijay, for such an insightful talk. I'm sure a lot of questions which will come in the panel will be very much aligned on those thoughts, I would say. So with that, we will move on to the next part of our session. We will be having a panel discussion, and after the how, when we have heard from the AI perspective, from the patient-clinician perspective, as well as from the manufacturing perspective, we move on to two very important stakeholders who are here in the audience, and it is my great honor to at first introduce Dr. Taruna Madan Gupta, who is the Scientist G and Head and needs no introduction. She is the Division and Development Research Head for ICMR in Delhi. Okay. And she is a PhD in pharmacy from CISR, as well as from the College of Pharmacy, University of Delhi, DIPSAR. And Dr. Madan did her postdoctoral training with Professor KBM Reed and Professor Uday Kishore, MRC Immunochemistry Unit at the University of Oxford, UK, and Dr. Rena Fisherova, Brigham and Women's Hospital at Harvard Medical School in the US. She is the former president of the Indian Immunology Society and a recipient of 2022 ISS RF Mridula Kamboj Oration, 2018 IUSSTF Senior Scientist Fellowship Award, and 2016 ACBI Dr. GP Talwar Oration Award, the 2003 CSIR Young Scientist Award, and 1998 INSA Young Scientist Medal. With so many accolades to her credit, she has also had over 100 peer-reviewed publications with over 5,000 citations, 8 granted patents, 1 multi-institutional validated product, and an ICMR policy brief for the intersection of immunoregulatory pattern recognition proteins and human health, with a focus on host defense, cancer, and reproductive disorders. As the head of the Division of the Development Research, she's spearheading ICMR's newer initiatives to strengthen the medtech innovation in India. And Medtech Mitra is one of the key things that we all have heard and known about. Also the Phase 1 network, the intent-related network which is there, as well as coordinating the ICMR's extramural grant, which is supporting the investigator-initiated research in the country from various institutes and medical colleges. So this really is a very great honor for all of us here from the steering committee and organizing committee to have Dr. Taruna Madan Gupta. May I kindly invite you, madam, on the stage. Also, I would now request the second, can you please move the slide, please? I would like to now introduce Professor Bikash Medhi, Professor and Head Pharmacology, PGI Chandigarh. Professor Medhi needs, again, no introduction, who is known to all of us here from the academia. He has been a stalwart. He is the department head for PGI Chandigarh for Department of Pharmacology. He is the editor-in-chief of the Indian Journal of Pharmacology and also of the PGI Drug Bulletin. He is the founder and of the Experimental Pharmacology and the Neurobehavioral Laboratory and former additional medical superintendent at PGI. He coordinates with the PGI Pharmacovigilance and the Materiovigilance Center for North India and serves as the regional coordinator of NADA for the Government of India. And he has played a very key role in various national initiatives, such as the co-convener of the India Initiative Program and the lead assessor for several GCP, GLP, NABH, as well as the CPC, SEA, and NMC. He is internationally the member and the executive committee of the IUPHAR for 23 to 26. He is the chairman, Basic and Translational Sciences, and a DSMB member for multiple multinational trials. So he is also a recipient of several prestigious awards, and he is ranked among the top 2 scientists in the world and has authored over several books, chapters, and publications. There's again another stalwart in the room and here to give us great advice. So Professor Medhi, please come on to the stage and please give him a round of applause, please. Thank you, Professor Medhi, for being with us. It's a great honor. With that, I would also request our other three speakers to come here on stage, Professor Sridhar Narayanan, Professor Vijay Patil, as well as Mr. Yogananth. May I request the chairs to be brought in? And last but not the least, my partner in crime for this particular session, and we hope to make it as interactive as possible, Dr. Pawan Singh. Please join me here on stage, please. So as the chairs are being brought out, I would really want the two stalwarts here on the stage, Madam Taruna as well as Professor Medhi. If I may ask you, as we get other panelists along, what is it that really you thought about our talks today, and what is it that brings you the most excitement from the proceedings from the morning, particularly with the next-gen therapeutics, Dr. Taruna?
Thank you very much for the honor of, inviting me to this esteemed panel. It was immense learning since morning, and the word I can say is that there is no end. These are very, very new, modalities that we are working on, and as rightly pointed out by the session speakers, that there is much more we need to learn. However, I also remember that Dr. Jain in the morning said that India is all ready to bring out newer therapeutics, including biotherapeutics, to put us on the global map, and we are already a pharmacy of the world. And we are hoping that not only with respect to the cell and gene therapy, but also with respect to medical devices. These are the two areas where the whole industry as well as academia is forging forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam. And Professor Medhi, the same question to you. How do you see the whole space of next-gen therapeutics, particularly the mRNA space, the gene therapies which we talked of today morning? How do you see that treatment landscape change, and how do you think academia would be contributing to it, particularly?
So, thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. So, since morning, it's very educative. There are a lot of challenges. So, when we listen to Dr. Singh, that how do you start the process, surgical, radiotherapy, chemotherapy, now the new technology has been come. So every treatment modalities, you have a limitation. But one great thing is that we're trying to overcome the limitation. And as Dr. Patil is nicely, I was very impressed with your presentation. So you put it such a way that a common man can understand what is going on. So I have been a reviewer for CAR T-cell therapy. So one point it is highlighted that we need a huge infrastructure. As Dr. Taruna is here, we had earlier also discussed, it's limited. There are two places it's doing on. But we need pan-India, such a huge structure, and we need a manpower also. So obviously, when we look at that, from the regulatory perspective, from the clinician perspective, we talk about precision medicine. How molecular approach can be done, to the narrow and targeted therapy. And that is what we are doing it. But one thing I just catch in mind in the morning, COVID, I also work as a task force member, day and night work. So we now a little relaxed. We have to accelerate the process for the new technology. So definitely all of us will together will be successful if we go for 2004-7, 100 products. We had a meeting I was in Bombay only when there is number of cases came. We had a meeting on 5th June. I was in IIT Bombay. Dr. Paul said that 100 days. We'll overcome that, 100 days. So we have a technology, you have an expertise, we can do it. And that's a positive mindset we have. Definitely we'll be successful. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Medhi. I would quickly ask one more question before I hand it to Dr. Pawan. So, Dr. Patil, I was very inspired when you said regional centers which will be able to produce this, and there is a workforce which requires to be trained. My question is, who is the person who will train this workforce? Because that is very important, because the expertise within our country is very limited, especially when it comes to people like you who are extremely experienced. So when we say workforce, of course, from the medical side, who should be training this? Because we all know that between patients, it's very difficult to find this time for training the workforce.
It should be actually opposite. Who wants to get trained for it? This, rather than enforcing. See, please understand the reason why stem cell transplant are done by very few people and few centers are because people who have done DM hematology and DM medical oncology are not willing to go that far for that.
Correct.
That much of stress which this new therapies bring out, and that's the fact of life. So the thing is, are we inspiring enough students who are taking DM or hemat or for that matter solid tumor medical oncology to do this job? That is, and if the results are being seen, these are great results. So it's like if I am a medical oncologist, I can't do this and my patients are going to have survival of 20-30%. He can give that survival of 70-80%, then you don't have to tell that. People will get trained additionally for that. Now, where it would happen, it has to start from academia. It has to start from centers of excellence like AIMS, Tata. Then only it will see. There was a time in this country in 2006 when there were only 10 DM medical oncologist posts. There were only 10.
Yeah.
Today, Tata Memorial Hospital itself, intake is 25 per year. And there are multiple DNB courses in Hinduja and other hospitals also. So once the premier institutes start working, these students, when they go out and start practicing in the community, they will have students under them. It won't happen in one day. It will require, but at least this kind of training needs to be given. If we keep telling this is advanced therapeutics, you may learn it, you may not learn it, then you are not going to get that enough critical number for percolation of this education.
Sure, thanks. Yeah, Dr. Medhi.
I think I've been involving in various activity as a IFR chairman also in a global level. So I'm running 20 different activities. So the institute like PGI, AIMS, other major institute, Tata, they should take the lead, train for trainer. You know, once you train, we also undergo training if there is new technology. You said about SOP, can we have an uniform SOP for Pan-India so that result will be, and that is we need to, and ICMR can take the lead that let's have an SOP, how you are implemented, let's identify the center, let them train, and they can initiate that.
Yeah.
Over to you.
Thanks, Dr. Medhi. Over to you, Dr. Pawan.
Thanks, everyone. So this question goes to Professor Sridhar. So we heard about AI ML role in basically the small molecules. So how you see the role of AI ML in complex therapeutics like biologics, mRNA vaccines?
So I think already there is a lot of work being done in this space, right? So within my organization itself, we are going up to peptides, cyclic peptides now, right? There are organizations like Immunito AI which work on antibodies as well, right? Use of AI for discovering new antibodies. So I think within India, there is the capability to do this. There are people, startups who are doing this. All of us have the same challenge, right? Do we have an ecosystem which is able to support this? And when I say support this, it's not necessarily only in terms of the finance, right? There are multiple other aspects. Just the way you have challenges with CAR T therapy in terms of infrastructure. If I have to do a model for a disease which is primarily present in India, I cannot find a place to go and do the animal model. And if I don't do the animal model, I will not get regulatory clearance. So I think it is not just enough to build the new technologies in-house. You need to create that ecosystem which can actually support those technologies as well, right? And I think definitely use of AI in all of these will increase. When we started the company 6 years ago, we were probably the first one. Today there are about 60, 70 of the AI companies who are there. But a lot of them are still in the service mode. They are not in the IP creation mode. I think that is where we need to encourage people to go in, be able to take those risks, create the new IP for India, right? We are depending on the West for all the new IP. And at some point in time, we have to start thinking about how do we create that IP in India. And that's where the vision is, 100 therapeutics from India by 100 years of independence. We will do it. There is no doubt about it. But we need to create that ecosystem to help that dream come true.
Yeah, please.
Dr. Sridhar, a follow-up question to that. How acceptable is the AI work that we are doing in drug discovery to the regulator? Basically, how do you present it and how do you make them understand what this is? Because that will be very important, I think, to take us forward. Yes, yes, sir.
You had beautifully demonstrated the mice model. So when I'll sit in the regulator office, I'm going to ask, this model, do you have a construct validity, phase validity, predictive validity? How about the model? These 3 questions I'm going to ask: construct, phase, predictive validity. Whatever data you generated, next question will be, is it OECD principle followed in a GLP lab? So when it comes to the regulator, because you have to also think that people who are doing it, they have already done the study. Many times it happens when it comes to the regulator, it's not GLP data, OECD. Can you repeat? And that's the reason the plan should be, you need to look at. And third question is, because since we are discussing about AI, can I predict from mouse model to the human how much it is effective? So that technology need to be developed right now, that how much it will be successful from this rodent model to the human model. So these are the questions need to be discussed. Obviously, these are not challenges. We can overcome that. So these are the questions. Yeah.
So very valid points, Dr. Medhi. Translatability is always going to be the big question. Like I said, mice are not men, right? And ultimately, it has to work in the human being for it to be successful as a drug. But even to get to the human being, I cannot go and directly dose a DMD patient. I don't think that's possible, right? So I need some surrogates to be able to at least have that relative confidence of getting into a clinical development stage. So I would say, yes, all of the points that you made about OECD guidelines, whether they are meeting international standards, what's the translatability, all are very valid points. And I believe that there is enough knowledge in the drug discovery space in India. We've been doing this for the last 30 years, right? So if you look from the days of Ranbaxy, Dr. Reddy's, Glenmark, Lupin, you name them, all of these companies have gone through the drug discovery journey. So there is enough knowledge base available in the country to do this, right? Are the regulators prepared? I am surprised by what the regulators are willing to go today, right? And I think there's a sea change in how the regulator views technology, not only for approvals, but also for their own internal learning, right? And I know of cases where now the use of AI to even review documents, to even understand, with some of these complex technologies, the regulator is not prepared. And, like Sanjeev mentioned earlier, they are willing to go that extra mile to learn and make changes. So I think we need to support them. We need to educate them wherever required and move it forward. So
I just wanted to add that regulator has become a facilitator. That is a known fact. And we are working hand in hand at ICMR with CDSCO for these newer therapies. And initially, when CDSCO had expressed that they have limited scientific capability to actually evaluate these proposals that are coming from the industry, and there are no, experts available. So Dr. Behel, our DG ICMR, had envisioned that we should put our scientists there as not only the SEC members, but also for the pre-IND meetings, for evaluation of the preclinical data that is being submitted, and also the alternative routes we have. For example, we are having organ on chip, we are having human on chip things available. There are several people who are working on patient-derived organoids. So there is much more happening on the scene. And now the initial number of ICMR scientists that were posted in CDSCO were 5. And it was not posting in the sense that they are only doing CDSCO work. We were asked to do both. So now the number has been enhanced to 12. Very happy to share with you that we have, doubled the number almost more than that. And the idea is that we work together and create an ecosystem where these newer therapies, not only get approved, but we do have adequate manpower training happening. So for that, the extramural research programs that ICMR is running, as well as the phase 1 network, the MedTech Mitra, the Intent Clinical Trial Network. So we were getting several proposals, and one of the beneficiaries is Origin, and Origin service sitting there. So what I wanted to mention was that we were in a dilemma when the committees were asking how many CAR T cell therapies ICMR is going to support, right? And we were explaining them, no, these are all different things. And even though they are similar, DG ICMR gave a mandate, we should support all of them because this is a new area. We do not know who is going to be successful. Let's support all of them. And even if they are all successful, that would be a win-win situation for the Indian population. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam.
So now coming to the difficult part of it. So we hear now the regulators have become facilitator. So over to Yogananth. What's your experience, actual experience with the regulators? If you can share some thoughts, and what improvement do you want from the regulators, or what is your wish list to Dr. Medhi or Dr. Taruna?
Regulators, we have come a long way for the past 6 years. When we filed our first application to today, so we carried our application 2,000, 3,000 pages as a hard copy submission and submitted to the regulators, attended multiple meetings. Now we have everything online. It's been applied through Sugam portal. There is a discussion going on with the RCGM about reducing animal testing for the CAR T therapy, which is not relevant model. At the same time, we are also discussing about single window approval system. There is a separate cell and gene therapy review team set up in the biologics group itself inside DCGI now. A lot of progress happened. The timeline is the one thing which is not assured yet. It may take its own sweet time because of the manpower requirements involved in the regulatory office, which we can't support. At the same time, as an industry, we should also vouch for, when we talk about reforms, we have to also talk about the, resources, reviewers, more reviewers. We go to the government for approvals, not for these kind of things. This also should be considered when it comes to, regularizing and modernizing our regulatory office. This is a very important point. When it comes to, Europe or US, they'll give you timeline. Review happens with the window, clock start, stop, everything is defined, which is not the case with India because of the simple reason that only 7-8 people sitting and reviewing 2,000, 3,000 files. That's not practical, and it's time. It can't be time-bound activity as long, until we support them with the resources. The resource crunch is very important, and that needs to be addressed in the regulatory office, and proper training for the newer technologies also.
I think you are very polite. But one thing is that there are a lot of change in the regulator. As Madam had already said, we facilitate. There is a collaboration with ICMR. Because when you talk about a new technology, and that you need to develop an expertise for review and approval it. So there are a lot of challenges there. You can approve, like there are many times we discuss. We know there are challenges are there, but it's a new technology. Let's promote it. Like what is it, what we requirement for a whole country? 50,000. We have 3,000 only. So unless you encourage from the regulatory perspective, so it will not there. So we have to be, like it's in a positive mode. It's in positive mode. But you rightly said, manpower, expert is very less to review the protocol, to review the document. But there is a timeline. Like after NDCT, you make an application 30 days. That is there. But obviously, you get an email on 38 days, so again, it is extended to another 30 days. That is practically, it is happening, that I agree with that. But you can go and discuss in a public forum that I wanted to discuss with the application, like US FDA. So that is there. So you can always discuss. You can always send a mail, that it is delayed, get it, discuss and get the approval. So that's positive thing is there. So definitely we need support from you also, from the government also. So definitely it will be done, yeah. But as I rightly said, new technology, we say, let's encourage to do it. So that is what the positive mode is. Thank you.
Technologies, as you rightly said, there is no scientific advice, hand-holding at this point in time. There is a pre-IND meeting, option is there, but not many takes that. And
practically what happened, ma'am will also tell is, like you ask for a pre-discussion. Suppose I am there, and when the main application comes, he is there. So that creates a confusion. Because I may put my comment after review, so when then new thing has come up, that also a problem, practical problem. That need to be also streamlined. Thank you.
every 3 years they change for a different reason, but at the same time you have to answer your queries right from the beginning. The review cycle starts again, and sometimes the approval goes to the ADC, DDC level. There you get query, not from the reviewers. Again, the cycle starts. We practically facing that every day.
Thanks. I will now change gears from regulator because we have heard enough about the regulator. So moving on a little bit, Dr. Patil, again, I'll come to you now. When it comes to your presentation, you did talk about real-world evidence and long-term data gathering, which is there. So when, when institutions or SUNACT does it, or when other bodies do it, how do they collect this data? I mean, do clinicians really spend the time, is what I'm trying to ask, for collection of that long-term data? And if so, how? And what is the support that we can do as industry, academia, all parties?
So, see, in general, it's a function of your interest and whether you want to audit your data or not. But people who do, like if you are going to give immunotherapy or you are going to do transplants or you are going to do CAR-Ts, normally most of the doctors who do this would maintain their databases. There is 2 or 3 reasons for that, especially for transplants in this. You need to have a good database, or else you don't know what has been happening to the patient. So, for example, if a patient post-CAR-T or post-transplants come to me, the first thing the RMO will be doing is to calculate from which day is post-transplant, what has happened. So we are in so details that you have the data of all infections the patient had, all antibiotic resistance which the patient had, and each time you actually, before sending the patient, you mark and tell, okay, next time if he has a fever, because next time when he has a fever, he'll come in casualty. You don't have the time to go through the data. These 2 are the antibiotics which you are going to start. So that is always done diligently. Where we are lacking is, all this data is not going into a central place.
Exactly, the publication.
So, this is not only publication. Publication also happens in silos. Like Tata will publish their audit separately, AIMS will publish their audit separately. We'll go and publish our data in ASCO, JCO, we'll publish them. It does not happen together. So if we have somewhere like a registry, that, okay, this patient has been treated, this is then the data can go there. It actually helps. It actually helps, for example, in few of the CAR-Ts, poor performance patients have been given. Now, obviously, when you give to poor performance status patients, the outcomes are going to be, toxicities are going to be high, but also, you also want to know what were the outcomes in them. Okay, now what happens is, whenever a physician or anyone wants to audit the data, they file it with the ethics that we will be doing a retrospective, and they would put selection criteria. And the selection criteria will say performance status 0 to 2. So the patient with 3 and 4 are excluded. So this data, which is very important, never comes out into the, no, it never comes out because these are excluded. So they are only the part of that consort where they would said, these were the patients who were excluded for these reasons. But this data is very important, and I'll give you an example. Head and neck cancer in India, 30 to 40 patient comes in PS2 and PS3. When we were at Tata, we started using oral therapies for these patients called metronomic. It was one of the type of repurposing which we did. And we published that it does not benefit all, but it benefits. What that led to a nationwide phase 3 clinical trial of patients of head and neck cancer with poor performance status, were randomized to receive nothing, which was the standard of care, versus receiving this oral therapy. This trial required only 80 patients, a properly powered phase 3, because the delta was very huge to be seen. This was an ASCO oral in 2024. And this led to it entering into the NCCN guidelines that PS2, PS3 patients can be treated with this oral. But if that data won't have come out, this cannot happen. So it's important that we put this data and we publish this. Something like a CR database registry is required. Even if the clinician is not interested in analyzing this, anyone who wants to analyze that can get, you and me can access CR database and get what is the penile cancer data. Yeah.
I think there should be policy decisions should be taken because you keep OPD data for 5 years, indoor for 10 years, medical legal lifelong. There are a lot of countries, they keep the data for 25 years. Here, you are going to have a long-term follow-up. That is at least 15 years. So there should be policy decision for that you have to keep the data. And second thing, I just wanted to tell the audience, we are going to launch a biovigilance program. We are supposed to launch from Bharat Mandapam on 17th of this year, but definitely we are going to launch the program biovigilance. So that will incorporate all the data, whatever cytochrome, neurotoxicity, so we can have a fair idea of all the population in the journal wise. Thank you.
So shifting gear again to policy. So what we heard that there is a cell and gene therapy committee which is coming with some draft guidance. So when it is coming and what we can expect from that?
I think Madam can tell that, take the initiative because it should not get delayed. Like we have been working on, GCP. So last year we submitted draft guideline. Till today yesterday we had a meeting. I think it should come immediately, means maybe this year, it should be coming up. So definitely, but one more point is that, people want, like, you make an application that you go to RCGM, you go to ICMR, you go to DCGI. There should be policy to take a single window.
Single window,
Yeah,
we all want.
because as you say that when you go to the different, agency, government agency, so you have a different question, So there should be single agency. That is one of the comment that, so that you can shorten the duration for an application so that you can do the study. That should be there, yeah.
So one question more before you answer, ma'am, that are there going to be the requirement specific to cell and gene therapy with respect to animal data requirement, GLP tox data requirement, and also the clinical trials? Because as we know, the centers are not equipped to give this kind of therapy. Now, if my sample size is high, from where I will get the sites and the patients? So is these guidelines are also focusing on those aspects?
Absolutely. The guideline making is a dynamic process and it goes on. Just to apprise the audience that cell and gene therapy is the mandate for Department of Biotechnology now, and they are really working hard to come out with a set of guidelines which are comprehensive as well as facilitatory in nature. Very rightly said, there should be a single window system. And for that matter only, MedTech Mitra was created, where we have 18 ministries and departments, different departments of the government, sitting on one board, so that the innovators' issues can be addressed right then and there. And we give a written information to the innovator and have a 15 minutes window where they can discuss various issues related to, and this is like pre-planned. They inform us what are the issues, and we invite those experts which are required for their issues solution, and that's how we manage it. RCGM definitely is one of the bottlenecks that many industry and academia also expressed. The process has been expedited, and I'm sure Department of Biotechnology is working hard to make it more facilitatory in nature. Thank you.
Thank you. So I think now we should open the forum for audience.
We are very short of time. We have highly exceeded all the time, but just few questions or one question at least. If not, I'm just giving it one more second. Okay, no questions, which means you have been a great panel, and Dr. Pawan has been a very great moderator. So thank you so much to all the panelists. Thank you, Dr. Sridhar, Mr. Yogananth, Dr. Patil, Dr. Medhi, and Dr. Gupta. We really, really appreciate it. Thank you for all the insights.
So from my side also,
both of
thanks
us.
a lot from both of us. And I think we are standing
Yeah.
between the lunch and
Yeah, but I would request all the panelists to please be on stage for a few of the felicitations that we have for you. Dr. Pawan.